morning. It's Kirsten Liebelt. How are you doing? Good morning. What is it today? Today's Wednesday. It's Wednesday. That means it's the middle of the week. How are you? I hope you're doing really, really well today. I really do. Half of the week over with. We are at the beginning of June. We're still crushing June. Are you still crushing June? I hope you are. I hope you are. Excuse me. We just started the challenge this week in the Facebook group, and it's so we already did Monday and Tuesday. And today, if you're not in the Facebook group yet, it's Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. And you can jump in there still. And 2 o'clock Central Standard Time today, I'm taking you into my pantry and my fridge. That's what I do. So if you don't know, we do a challenge every single month at the beginning of the month. And that's so that you can have success over that month. Like you can have victory inside of that month. And then you can go to July. We'll do the same thing. You'll have victory inside of that month. And then you can take down that month as well. And so when you add up all of these months together, before you know it, you're at the end of the year and you're like, amazing. Good morning, Anna. Good to see you. Okay. So today I wanted to talk about the number one symptom that I had for my insulin resistance in my 40s. Number one, hands down, I just kept saying, what's wrong with me? That's what I should have said that maybe in the title. What had me always saying, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? And I do mean what's wrong with you. You can't wait to see the pantry. Anna, it looks like yours. It looks like yours. You're so funny. And the thing is that, so for people who kind of don't know my story, I basically, I started my insulin resistance as a really little girl, younger girl. Yeah, not little, but younger. But it showed up in my 20s with gestational diabetes and hypoglycemia with a pregnancy. And then I lost my father when I was 30 years old. My kids were little. They were 6'3" and 6 months. And my Italian dad, he was 100% Italian. He died when he was 63 from type 2, and he was insulin dependent. And so I kind of went on this journey of doing literally nothing for a very, very long time. But in my 40s, and I talk about that a lot, about how then my mom asked me about my sugars all the time and wouldn't leave me alone. Praise God that she did that for me. But I also was working a job where I needed to multitask at a very high level. So if you've ever had mental haze and we call it brain fog a lot, and you're having a hard time multitasking, you're having a hard time just remembering basic things. Maybe I've even had somebody now all these years come back to me when we have worked with targeted supplementation, and she said, oh my gosh, I thought I was getting dementia. Like that's how bad it was for her. But there's a direct correlation between insulin resistance and brain fog. And so I wanted to talk about that today, because you're not crazy. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. Thank you for sharing, Anna. You're amazing. And sometimes we just don't know that. We just think, oh my gosh, maybe we're just, because it's happening at the same time, usually like perimenopause. And of course, that's the connection, right? Like insulin is a hormone. And I didn't know that either at the time. I didn't know anything. You guys, I was super ignorant. I was super I didn't know any of this stuff. So there's hope for all of you. And also too, when we talk about food, right? Because I'm Italian. So that was my harder piece of the puzzle. All right. So, insulin resistance can affect your body, can affect your mind too. There's a connection between your diet, your sugars, and your brain fog, your mental haze. And I would love to know, number one, if you're on the replay, let me know you're on the replay and where you're coming in from. I always forget to say that. I need to remember. And also too, if you are a Canadian customer of mine, will you reach out to me? Let me know if you're a Canadian customer of mine, because excuse me, I need to ask you a quick question. Okay. So if you're a Canadian customer, but there's this connection that we don't know about because, well, who's talking about it? You don't go to the doctor and they share with you, oh, your insulin resistance is causing you to have brain fog. And no, that's not usually how it works. In fact, sometimes maybe what's happening is more like when we go and we're having such a hard time, we're mentally having a hard time that we are having so much brain fog. Like me, maybe you're like I was. What's wrong with me? Like, is this just what it's like to get older? Like, I'm not really sure. And you feel your confidence is waning. Maybe you're feeling super vulnerable in your workplace. I know that for me was true. Especially when you work with a lot of younger people. And maybe somebody will just tell you that, what you're going through is really normal. And maybe you just need an anti-sadness pill. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like maybe you're describing something that's making you feel vulnerable, etc. So these are the reasons why there's this connection between insulin resistance and brain fog. Let's get into it. That way you cannot feel crazy anymore. So there's impaired glucose utilization. So the brain relies on glucose for energy. When insulin resistance occurs, the brain's ability to use glucose efficiently is reduced, leading to lower energy levels in your brain cells. And lower energy levels in your brain cells. Number two, that was number one. Number two is inflammation. Inflammation is a really, really, really big deal because when you have high insulin, you have high inflammation. And that's really where you want that to come down. Insulin resistance is associated with chronic inflammation. The inflammatory molecule produced can cross the blood-brain barrier and affect brain function, contributing to symptoms of brain fog such as memory problems and lack of mental clarity. You guys, seriously. And isn't that just kind of a little shocking that we're not taught this stuff? I think it is, because seriously, that was my very first really strong symptom of insulin resistance was brain fog. That was for me. Number three, oxidative stress, high blood sugar levels and increased fatty acids. Free fatty acids common in insulin resistance lead to the production of reactive oxygen species, ROS. These ROS can damage brain cells and disrupt neural pathways, contributing to cognitive difficulties and brain fog. And so as we're talking about, like, okay, crosses the blood-brain barrier, less energy in your brain cells. Oh, Arnalda, I'm so glad. Thank you so much for saying you love the videos. I'm so grateful, and it makes sense. I know, right? That's the whole point. The whole point is to be able to have somebody come into your life and tell you something where you go, oh my gosh, you're describing what I've been going through. And see, when I started going through all this stuff, I didn't know anything like this. So I had to like reverse engineer. Why is this happening to me? That makes so much sense with the inflammation and brain fog with your history. I know. Leah, okay, now what? You mean like, how do we fix it? I will tell you. I'll tell you, give you some ideas for sure. But I'm telling you, like, so my mom ended up with dementia, and now, it's pretty common to call dementia type 3 diabetes, insulin resistance of the brain. Doesn't this make sense now, you guys? Exactly. I'm talking to you, Arnalda. Oh, I know. That was me. Seriously, you guys, I could not multitask. And I just kept saying to my husband, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? And he kept saying, stop saying that. There's nothing wrong with you. I'm like, oh, you just don't know. Like, because I was working with younger people. And so I felt very vulnerable, not being able to multitask at their level. I mean, honestly, and you're just wondering, like, I think maybe this is just what it's like to get old. And this is just the way it's going to be. Number 4, hormonal imbalance. So insulin is a hormone. Did you know that? Did you know insulin is a hormone? Like, I didn't. So for me to understand that connection between the timing of the perimenopause and the hormones going upside down and insulin being one of them, to me, that was very revelatory. I don't know if it is for you or if you've ever heard that before, if this is your first time hearing that, but I feel like if I can say that enough times, enough women will hear that. And then you won't feel so bad about your journey. Insulin is a hormone. Insulin is a hormone. Okay. That's number 4. But insulin resistance can affect other hormones, including those that influence brain function. Yeah. Such as cortisol. High levels of cortisol due to stress can affect brain function and contribute to brain fog. So if you have high levels of cortisol, that could definitely be a reason why you have a lot of brain fog, and it's all connected. Insulin is a hormone. Cortisol is a hormone. You can go on and on, right? This is the last one, number 5, neurotransmitter imbalance. So insulin resistance can disrupt the balance of neurotransmitters, which are chemicals that transmit signals to the brain, such as serotonin and dopamine. An imbalance in these neurotransmitters can affect mood, focus, mental clarity, leading to brain fog. In summary, insulin resistance can impact brain function through reduced glucose utilization, increased inflammation, oxidative stress, hormonal imbalances. I have to do a reel on this. This is really good information, right? And neurotransmitter disruptions, all of which contribute to the sensation of brain fog. Christine, pharmaceuticals and healthcare professionals benefit from our just looking for a quick fix. I know. 2 sisters and mother-in-law are type 2. You're not, but was insulin resistant. Last 2 years, have been challenging, but you did not hop on insulin injection train ride. Big changes. Yay. Good for you, Christine. See, I just need all I need. This is all I need, you guys. I just need one person every day to tell me that they're becoming their own advocate. I just need one person. And Christine, I think you might be my second or my third. You're my third this morning. I love that, because we have to take back our own bodies, because otherwise, how are we going to create future memories? How are we going to do that? Right? I will read that in here in just funny. Yes. So what I did. But I didn't know why I was doing it, but it worked. So if you heard them talking about like how it's dopamine and serotonin, your neurotransmitters, well, everything that I just talked about, all of the hormones, whether you're talking about insulin or cortisol or your neurotransmitters, et cetera, they're all regulated by your adrenals. And your adrenals sit on top of your kidneys. Now, again, I didn't know a lot of this at all, but at one point in my world, I was connected to this wonderful naturopath who told me who knew nothing, who was completely addicted to sugar. I was the poster child for sugar addiction. I'm Italian. I ate everything wrong. Like I was not a supplementing person. I was nothing of those sorts. And she told me, the way that you treat your adrenals is the way you'll go through menopause. And I'm like, okay, well, that's cool. Like I'm going to put that piece of information in my hat, so to speak. And so when my brain fog showed up, the first thing that I did, I didn't know that I was insulin resistant. I didn't even know the terminology. I knew that I needed to deal with my sugars because my mom wouldn't leave me alone, because my dad had passed away at 63 with type 2 insulin dependent. So she was really on me. Like, where are your sugars? Do you go to the doctor? Are you thirsty all the time? Are you drinking water? Are you drinking water? Are you peeing all the time? All of these things, because she could see my weight going in the wrong direction. Germans and Swedes eat like Italians too. I know, we all do, Christine. We all do. But I had somebody come into my world, and at the same time that I started to take targeted supplements for my sugars, I started taking adaptogenic herbs, because she said, here, this is like a mind brightener. Try this. And I did, and I never stopped. But it's not because I was super smart. It's just because I was able to multitask again. And then over a few years, I understood that these adaptogenic herb blends that I was taking, and adaptogenic herbs, what they do is they help your body adapt to stress. They support your adrenals, and your adrenals regulate your hormones. So there's like this root that you can get under of what's happening. And when you can balance out your hormones better, including your insulin and your cortisol and whatever, you can begin to bring down a lot of those imbalances, or bring into balance a lot of those imbalances, so that you can start to feel better in your mood, in your mind, in your sadness, in your anxiousness, in your all of these things that happen when you are like imbalanced, right? And so when I did that, like I said, I didn't stop. I just kind of kept on doing it. Instead of doing it one day a week, which was my hard day at work, I started just one day a week because I needed to multitask. And pretty soon I'm doing it like all the time and taking adaptogenic herbs regularly. And there's nothing wrong with that, of course. And a few years later, then when I went in for shoulder surgery because I had a rotator cuff tear, a car accident, it kicked me straight into menopause. And so I never had a cycle again. Well, after my shoulder surgery, basically what happened was I stopped taking my supplements for about 90 days. I was really focused on narcotics because I can't say that word on TikTok, I bet. Shoot. Got to be careful because I'll get flagged on stuff. I was just focused on the things that would help this discomfort because what I didn't know is that it froze. And so during that time, I'm trying to do physical therapy and it's not going well. And so basically I start getting warm feelings inside of me and I'm like, oh my gosh, that herb that I was taking, and I don't, why I had that connection is beyond me, but I did. I woke up, I was like, oh my gosh, that's been helping me not have hot flashes. And I started back up again. And sure enough, I never ended up having hot flashes. I'm 59 now. So that's what adaptogenic herbs can help with in terms of supporting your adrenals and in terms of bringing better into balance your hormones. And so having said that, for those of you that are already connected to me, you can always ask me about the purple packet. I still take it to this day because it helps with, it's a mood brightener. It's a mind brightener. If you're looking for, sustained energy with your B vitamins and all of that stuff, herbs for your memory, it's all kind of in one little packet. So the purple packet, you can always reach out to me and ask me about that. But that shifted my entire world. I didn't understand. If I were to reverse engineer it, I didn't know that the brain fog was coming from insulin resistance. I didn't know that the herbs that my friend gave me were helping my brain fog were helping because of my adrenals. I didn't understand that because it was helping my adrenals, it was helping my hormones. I didn't understand that's what was actually keeping me from going off the cliff of menopause. Like, I didn't understand any of those things. None of those things. And so that is actually such a big piece of the puzzle for people. If you are finding yourselves, like, I'll go back now and say, in the Facebook group, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women, and you can get in there. And if it takes, once you're in there, it may take a minute or two, but you will get tagged in a PDF that is free recipes and pantry stuff. There's just a lot of people getting in there right now. So just be patient. Okay. But once you get in there, you'll be tagged in that. And we're doing a challenge. So yes, Monday and Tuesday were the 2-day challenges. And now, today I'm going to take you into my pantry and fridge. I do the challenges every single month because repetition is the mother of all skills. Sometimes we can have excitement and encourage and hope and feel strong for a moment or for whatever, sometimes we lose that and we need to get re-encouraged. So at the beginning of every month, I do another challenge, and I've been doing this for a year. This has been my 1-year anniversary. I'm so excited, but we're going to put months together, one month after the other, after the other, after the other. And then pretty soon you're going to be like 6 months down the road and realize that you made strides. You learned new ingredient trade outs. You learned new recipes. You learned how to target your supplementation and not just take willy-nilly supplements. You learned how to really assess yourself better, those types of things. And that's really, really helpful. But oftentimes what happens is, in wanting to learn new ingredient trade outs and wanting to learn a new recipe and in wanting to, gosh, you're excited and you want to like go change the way you're grocery shopping or whatever. Sometimes things are so impaired because of our brain fog that it makes it hard to even go take another step because we're just like, it's just too much. And so then we're just like, never mind, I'll just go back to my old habits. I'll go back to my old routines. I'll do, whatever, because you just feel maybe overwhelmed. Maybe that's the word. Do you ever feel overwhelmed in the sea of information or the sea of, and it doesn't have to be bad information. I talk about that all the time, but let's just pretend it's all good information, but it's still just a lot. It's just a lot. Well, that's that brain fog. That's that mental haze. And we don't feel strong enough to fight through it all the time. And that can feel really frustrating. So I understand. So number one, dealing with your insulin resistance, it's going to begin to bring down your insulin, bring down your inflammation. It's going to bring you back to where you can function again. But if you do need adaptogenic herbs, reach out to me, because I do have really, really good ones that I've been using now for over 10 years. And they just help me to function at a higher level. I literally don't think I go a day. I don't. In fact, I know I don't, because I don't like the brain fog. I don't like brain fog. I don't like, because whatever. Anytime we start associating certain things with age and whatever, right? It kind of makes us feel like, dang, like I don't want to, I don't want to lose that capacity to multitask, or I don't want to lose that capacity to, figure out my life or to assess things. Nobody wants that. So anyway, on Facebook, you guys can drop the word purple packet and I can come in and give you that information. On Instagram, you'd have to DM me. And on TikTok, you'd have to go up to my profile, and on my page, there's here, I'm going to get like balloons or something on Instagram. I think when I do this, there's a number that I'm on the other side. You can do this on your phone. I have to be careful what I say. You can do this and I can respond to you, and you can just ask me about that. But anyway, I wanted to read this here. Hold on just a second. So he's saying that the United States government spends $158 million a year towards research and finding a cure for infection and diseases like tremor, anxiety, and depression, psoriasis, shingles, eczema, chronic problems. Yep. All those things. And they don't cure because there's no profit in it for them. In the pharmaceutical industry, truth be told, please, that's more reason why I venture into herbal treatment. Yep. And I know I can't see the rest of that comment, but yep, that's exactly, yeah. It's just true, you guys. We have to be our own advocates. And since 2020, we should really, really even think about it more, right? Because the things that really do help us are always things that are demonized because they don't have profit behind them. And I'm just not interested anymore. You're still blaming your husband's diabetes for his dementia. He was on strong insulin shots. Yeah. It's a big piece of the puzzle, you guys. It's a big piece of the puzzle. Watched it with my mom. You have two aunts who are diabetic. One died of Alzheimer's, and my living aunt has dementia. I have one more aunt who refused insulin medication, and she just turned 91. That's fantastic. Good morning, Tanya. Good to see you. I know. It's disheartening sometimes, right? But yet on the other hand, it's super empowering. And I want people to feel like, okay, we have not been given a terminal number. Okay. We've not been given a terminal diagnosis. Insulin resistance is not a terminal diagnosis. It's reversible. It's 100% reversible. When done properly, targeted supplementation can completely change your world. I'm just telling you, like, there are answers that were not given for a reason. And what if it was more simple than you thought it was? What if it's not as mountainous as you thought it was? What if there's less noise than you actually perceive there to be? I'm just saying, like, we have to ask ourselves these questions. I absolutely knew nothing. I'm 30 years old. My kids are 6'3" and 6 months. I raised my kids all through my 30s with the thought process of what can't you do with a 50-pound bag of flour? And I made everything from scratch. Well, most everything from scratch. So I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought that I was being wise. And what I didn't realize is that, no, I was literally just on this spike and crash all the time. And when you're insulin resistant, you're just exhausted. You're hangry. You're craving carbs all the time. Your brain fog is off the charts. You're just not functioning well. And you're thinking, oh man, and then when you hit perimenopause, you're like, this gets worse. Like, what are you even talking about? And I remember having that conversation inside of my own head. And I was sharing this, I think, in the Facebook group. Sometimes I can't remember where I shared something. But I think it was this week in the challenge, just about how I remember thinking to myself, maybe because of what's being modeled to me in my Italian family with obesity and type 2, maybe I'm supposed to just embrace that identity of obesity and type 2 diabetes. And I knew inside of myself the answer was no, but I had no idea how to do it. I had no idea what I was supposed to do about that feeling inside of me thinking that I didn't want to do that. And that is actually a piece of that puzzle where you have to be able to go, okay, let's like dissect this a little bit and realize that I actually can make a change. And so when I started on my journey, I didn't start with my food trade outs, which I teach in the group. I didn't, because that was far from me thinking that I could do that. So I started with supplements. It's the only thing that I knew to do. But now my results, my dad took the path of medication, and so did many other people around me. But when he died, he had a lazy Susan full of meds. And he took that path, and he ended up with all sorts of heart procedures and dialysis, etc. And then he dies at 63. I took the path of supplementation, and I'm the only one in my family that avoided type 2. I'm the only one. I'm the only one. I'm 59, no meds, no type 2 in sight, and I never will. I never will. And because when your insulin and your sugars are high, you can't lose weight. Once I finally like understood and learned how to target things for my body to make my body function, I went from a 2X down to a large. And in my 50s now, like I didn't even start until I was like 51. And that was after my cycle stopped. So I want you to know that there's hope for everybody, and that when you see it through the lens of this is a hormonal conversation, not a calorie in, calorie out conversation, you're going to get so much further in your world. We talked about that a lot this week in the Facebook group. So if you're in the group, isn't that true? This is what we're talking about a lot, is the fact that it is a hormonal issue. And when you change the way you view this, you feel less crazy. You feel more empowered. You feel like, oh, I now have a track to run on. I have an understanding of what's actually going on. Nobody's been talking to me about it this way. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Say that again. Elaine, do you mean about the hormonal issue or the hormonal conversation? Tell me what you were saying about that, or what you were wanting me to say again, because I will. If I can remember, I'll start, and then you just tell me, and I'll look to see what you say. But basically, it's a hormonal conversation. This is not it is not a calorie in, calorie out conversation. Number one, if you want to get into the Facebook group, it's called Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. The banner is the June 4-day challenge. Every month I do a challenge at the beginning of the month so that you can nail that month. Nail it. And then the beginning of next month, we'll do another one. I think in July and August, they're going to probably be the second weeks. Because if I look at the calendar, I'm just telling you, that's just the way it's probably going to go. But anyway, 4th of July, all that good stuff. But I do a challenge in there every single month, and I've done it for a full year. This is my 13th challenge. And to give you information on insulin resistance and all of those things. And the thing is that this is a hormonal conversation. Insulin is a hormone. Cortisol is a hormone. And we keep talking about things about being calorie in, calorie out. It's not calorie deficit only. It's not. Calories matter, but it matters in one facet of a diamond that has many, many facets. And so we keep thinking that we're crazy. We keep thinking that, well, we must just be eating too much food, or we're being told that by sometimes the community, the matrix, right? Well, you're just eating more than you're telling me you're eating. You're not tracking right. You're not whatever. And, or we have bad negative thought process towards ourselves, like, well, you just don't have any self-discipline. You don't, whatever it is that we say to ourselves. But when you start to look at things through the lens of insulin resistance, through the lens of a hormonal conversation, all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay. And that is really where I go into depth like that inside of the group. And you know what? I am not a doctor, you guys. I am an Italian girl who figured this out. When my dad died with a lazy Susan full of meds, I had a lot of questions. I'm just going to keep saying it. This is not a terminal diagnosis. So therefore, why did he die at 63? With all those meds? Isn't modern medicine amazing? Isn't modern medicine supposed to fix us, heal us, turn things back? I know that's a naive statement. I know that that shows you how disconnected I was to the role of PHARMA. I get it, but that's how I was raised. I was raised to believe that type 2 was only genetic. That's how I was raised. I didn't know any different. So anyway, I'm just saying, like, if you want a track to run on, get in the Facebook group, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. If you want to know about the supplements, the trio that I talk about all the time, 3 supplements that have 3 ingredients that help with insulin sensitivity. It's where I started. It's what I still do to this day. And I'm not on any meds. You can text me and ask me about Trio. You can put that in the comments on Facebook because it'll stay there. Over here, it doesn't stay. Instagram, you can DM me. If you're on Instagram, there's a highlight bubble at the very top. It's pink, and it will give you the testimonies of people's sugars coming down, of people finally losing weight after being stuck, even though they were doing keto, stuck even though they were on berberine, even though, like, fill in the blank, right? Just because you can do things. Yes, I can, Susie. Thank you for asking, because I know I talk fast. Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. And I wish I could put like I can't put a link there, so it does not work. That's not available to me. But and then if you are already a customer, or if maybe you're not, but you just want, you know that your first step needs to be that you've got to get a handle on your brain fog, because for freaking sake, you just cannot seem to get yourself clear enough to make the decisions that you're wanting to make, to like trade out ingredients, shift your pantry, try a new recipe. Like, it's mentally hazy and hard. That's where the purple packet conversation comes in. So if you're looking for help with the brain fog, with that mental haze, ask me about the purple packet, okay? Because I'm telling you, that's 3 supplements inside of one little packet. And that is help with, it's a mood brightener. It's a mood brightener. I'm going to wink. If you know what I mean, it's a mood brightener. It's a natural sadness killer. It's also a mind brightener. And then you can get all of the extra energy because all your B vitamins, time release, that whole thing. Like, there's so much going on inside of one little packet. Just telling you. But I've done this for so long now. And I can actually now target and help women, even if they're looking to get more balance in the hormones. I can actually like help them tweak that too. But just choosing to be like a little more targeted in your thought process, and not having a supplement cupboard that looks like your makeup drawer. Because we just buy things, right? We just go and we buy things, and we go to the, Walgreens, and we buy things, and we go to Walmart, or we see a Facebook ad, or our girlfriend started taking this or whatever. Well, let's try to do things. Grammy, thank you for following. You're welcome, Susie. Let's try to do things that are a little bit more customized, more streamlined just for you, so that you're not taking things that you don't need, but you're getting exactly what you do need. Like, what's your first step? Is your first step needing to get your cortisol down because OMG, you have such a stressful job, or you're working a night shift, or you're taking care of a dementia patient? Then maybe we need to chat about ashwagandha. Like, right? Different people have different things, but always reach out to me. Did I get tested at some point? Elaine, first at some point. Well, so in my 40s, no. However, back in my 20s, yes. And the reason why is because I was gestational diabetic. So I was taking my blood 4 times a day with my gestational diabetes. And then as I went through my 30s, I was really very disconnected from my body, not paying any attention. And then in my 40s, when my mom wouldn't leave me alone about my sugars, I was too scared. I didn't want to go. I didn't want to go and get tested for anything. And so I didn't. I was not being very responsible. But since then, obviously, I've had different, like I had my shoulder surgery. I've had, many things. that have brought me to a place where maybe I needed to test it, have blood panels done, had a colonoscopy, and, you go and you get stuff done. Right. So I do know now that like I'm good. Right. But in the height of it in my 40s, I was too scared. I was literally the type of person that my father had so many open wounds on his legs from his type 2 diabetes being not controlled. Even though he was taking a lazy Susan full of meds. When I would get sore, when I would get a cut, I would question whether it was healing properly or not. That was in my brain because I was raised with it. And my dad always wore, what socks did my dad always wear, Carrie? Were they black or white? There was a reason why he wore black socks, though. I can't remember why now. There was a reason. But so I always thought that way, but I never, no. At the height, I did not get tested. Oh, Elaine, thank you. Courage to do this. Yeah. And I spent a lot of years, I'll end with this morning. I spent a lot of years doubting my ability to come on social media and talk about this because I was the only one that avoided type 2 in my family. And so people would say, you're not type 2, right? Or I said it to myself in my head, I should say, I'm not type 2. How can I talk about this? And I thought, oh, that's actually my story. I'm the only one that avoided it. And I did targeted supplementation. And I did that for quite a while before I ever had the nerve to figure out to trade out my ingredients and my foods. It took me a long time. And now I'm like, ever since especially 2020, I'm kind of like not interested in being quiet on things because there are some simple answers. I'm not going to say the journey is easy, but I am going to say the thought process is very simplistic because this is not a terminal diagnosis that needs oncologists. Does that make sense to you when I say that? I hope that makes sense. You just turned 30 and it's really scary to take step to responsibility for your health. Yeah, it can, but it doesn't have to be. I feel like there's a lot of noise out there. So I feel you. At 30, my dad dies. When I was 30. He's 63. He dies of type 2 diabetes. And I'd spent my entire life at that point with a dad that was insulin dependent and on dialysis and having heart procedures and all of these things. And so all of that was definitely very confusing to me, like, because I'm not a doctor. And so I just kind of I was on the river. I was on the river of his declining health. And so I would have said the same thing, that feels scary, but it doesn't have to be. And I do feel like, okay, I'm going to say something, and this might be really controversial, and maybe you'll get what I'm saying and maybe you won't. I don't know. Chaos is a strategy. In marketing, chaos is a strategy. Confusion is a strategy because then they can be the only answer for you. And that's an issue because actually this is not this challenge. This is not hard. This is not hard. And if you want to know kind of like you just want more information, get into the Facebook group, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. You'll get tagged in a recipe PDF at some point. It's been very busy entrance, but it's a free recipe pantry PDF. But more than that, listen to some of the days. I did Monday and Tuesday already, the challenge this month. If you want to know like deep information on the trio, the 3 supplements, the 3 ingredients that help with insulin sensitivity, at the top of the group, there's a masterclass that I did at the end of December. Go watch that. It's an hour. It'll give you, it's longer. But I want you to understand this is actually a simple conversation. Why is there so much confusion around something that should never be this confusing? Why are we not told, oh, this is a hormone, insulin is a hormone? Why are we not told these are the signs of insulin resistance? And I mean, like when we go to the matrix, why are we not given this information? This is basic information, but we aren't, because their answer is a script. or add a script or up a dose of one. Okay, hold on. You just got a full panel of blood work done and you have your appointment next week. You're nervous, but you're going anyway. Go anyway. Go anyway. Because you know what? It's like literally go anyway. And then, so follow me on TikTok and reconnect with me. If whatever, because I'm going to tell you, if your blood work is simply, okay, I'll tell you this first. You can be insulin resistant for a very, very long time, meaning that your hormone insulin is increased on a regular basis in your body before it ever shows up in your blood work. So this is where we're missing the mark in the matrix. This is where we're missing it because they're pulling glucose panels and they're saying everything looks good. Everything looks good. Everything looks good. Yes. Sick care locks you in. Wellness care gets you to the root. Yes. Yes. Let's get to the root. Let's get to the root. So basically you're being told everything's fine, everything's fine, everything's fine. And then, oh, you're pre-diabetic. Shoot. How did that happen? When you could have been insulin resistant for a very long time prior to that. It's literally not okay. It's not okay. So I'm just telling you. 2020 was the first time as well. Your doctor said you needed insulin. A happy pill. Because they go together. A lot of these go together. And then a surgeon was telling you you needed knee replacements and you just cried. You started changing everything. I'm going to put your comment up there. I love that, Christine. I love every single time somebody tells me, I chose to be my own advocate now. I chose to be my own advocate. I'm taking back my body so that I can literally create more memories in the future. And I feel like that's what I get to help people do. I get to help you. Oh, I would love for you to follow up with me. Seriously, up here on my face, if you, it'll take you out of the live, but if you click on my face, it'll come up again here and you can click on me again. There's a hashtag symbol thing on my page, and you literally can do this and let me know. Okay. Use your phone and tell me. I would love to know. Say, I was on your live and I was the one that said this about my, results coming in. I would love to know, because when I was your age, that's when my dad died, right? But this is not a terminal diagnosis. How can you tell if you're insulin resistant? That's a really good question. You're down 31 pounds, Christine. Way to go. Dang it. Way to go. That's amazing. Insulin resistance. So for me, my first clue was brain fog. That's why I'm talking about that today. My brain fog was very, very, very strong. I couldn't multitask. I was really thinking there was something wrong with me. Like I thought I was just getting older, etc. It was a mess. That's why I'm on here today talking about brain fog and the connection. But for other people, it can be exhaustion because your cell's not getting energy. Your cell is closed off. And so it's not getting the energy that it needs. Insulin is supposed to be shuttling. It's supposed to be a little shuttle bus. It's supposed to shuttle the food that you eat that gets turned into glucose. It's supposed to shuttle it into your cell. And it can't do it. It can't get it into your cell because your cell has said it's closed the door. So now you're tired because you're not getting the fuel into your cell, and your body wants a quick fix now again. And so it wants carbohydrates for quick energy. And so you're craving carbohydrates. So you're tired, you're hungry, you're craving carbs and sugars all the time. A little more advanced, you can start getting skin tags, oftentimes on your neck. You can get discoloration around your, like on your neck. It's a hyperpigmentation. Belly fat is another one. That's why oftentimes when I'm talking to people about, you feel that way every day, Mary. I know. Yeah, I know. It's very common. It's very common. Okay, good. KTH4, you got it. Good. It's very common. And so, and again, I'll just say, a year ago, when I started the Facebook group, I was actually beta testing 2 groups at the same time. You were just told that you had insulin resistance in December. I feel like everything is super, super accelerated since the shutdown. It's very accelerated. So a year ago when I was beta testing 2 Facebook groups, one was for menopause. Yeah, Kathy, please do. Please do. On my face up here, you can actually go to, there's a site on my page. It's my first and last name.com, and you can see where the trio is there. That's the 3 supplements that have the 3 ingredients that help with insulin sensitivity. Those are the ones I started all the years. I still take them to this day. Or you can jump over to the IG, and there's a highlight bubble. It's pink and it has all of the testimonies. So good. They are so good. But when I was beta testing the Facebook groups, one was for menopause and one was more specifically for the hormone. Yeah, Kathy, I know. Speaking your language. I understand. Insulin is a hormone. So it's only one of the hormones in this whole perimenopause, menopause conversation, right? It's only one of them. And when I narrowed it down to insulin, literally your response to me was overwhelming. And it's because of, I think that we are just seeing so much since the shutdown. Like, for instance, maybe people really went crazy and crazy, that's a strong word. I just feel like for a long period of time, we had a lot of sedentary action, right? We were just kind of like super sedentary. Maybe we increased scripts that can, affect what's going on. Maybe we were, we just had a lot going on. And so the insulin resistance is off the freaking charts. And I want everybody to hear me. This is why I do this, like Monday through Friday. I go live every day at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. I want everybody to hear me. This is reversible. If you want to go faster, I can help you go faster. If you want to condense time, I can help you condense time. Because when done properly, targeted supplementations can help turn your ship. That's where all the testimonies come from with the trio. Having said that, the response being so great, when you get into the group, when you get into the Facebook group, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women, just listen to the last couple of days, Monday and then yesterday. And then today I'm going live at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, because I want you guys to know you can turn this around. I'm just going to keep on saying it. This is not a terminal diagnosis. You really can. Is it going to take effort? Yes. Is it going to take time? Time is probably the hardest piece, because we don't fix this overnight. This is a healing journey. Okay. So you don't just like choose to supplement for a month and you're good. It's kind of not how it works. But yet on the other hand, it's like, but what if a year goes by and you've been able to really shift things for yourself? You're feeling better. You have more energy. You wake up like I do and you don't ache. Your brain fog is gone. You can get on the floor and be with your grandbabies. This is me talking about me. You can actually begin to lose weight, because when your insulin and your sugars are high, you can't lose weight. So you're on a hamster wheel and you don't even know it. Nobody told you that the hamster wheel is the high sugar and the high insulin. Nobody told you, just like me. But now I've gone from a 2X down to a large in my 50s. I'm still on my own journey, just like you guys are. I'm just like you. We're the same, right? Just trying to navigate a world by not having all the answers come from one area in the matrix. And when they do talk to you finally about supplementation, if they're writing you a script for it, don't do that. Who do you think's making it? They're not stupid. I'm just saying. So anyway, so reach out to me if you need anything at all. On Facebook, you can always put trio in the comments. You can put purple packet in the comments. Whatever it is that you need, I can see it there. In Instagram, you have to go into my DMs. Or if you're on the replay, you can put it in the comments, because then it will show up. And on the Tickety Talk, you have to go up to my face and then get to my page. Click on my face again, get to my page. You can follow me if this is information that's being helpful to you, or something that you want to follow this journey and maybe have tips and tricks for food. And if you need to know more about targeted supplementation, there's my first last name.com. You can go there. You can look at testimonies. Just make sure you register with your name. Please register with your name. Please. I don't have them on me. If you register with your name, number one, you can get perks. You can check the box for the perks and you can get points for your products. That's how you get cash off of future orders. But number 2, I'm still giving away keychains. And if I can't see your information, I can't send you anything. So register with your name. And the keychains, I wish I had them here. Shoot. Keychains, and they're different colors and they say different things like you are not alone, you are worthy, you are awesome, you are amazing. Things like that, because I really do want you to understand, like, there's been so much shame in this conversation of weight loss. And when we don't understand why the hamster wheel exists and what that's all about, there can be a lot of shame. So we're going to ditch that at the same time that we're ditching the insulin resistance. And yeah, so let me know if you need anything at all. I would be more than happy to help you. Have a super blessed day. You'll send me a DM here. Yay, Elaine, perfect. I will look for your DM when I get off. I will do that. And Vicky, I saw your trio comment and I will come back and give you that information. And you guys have a great day and I'll see you tomorrow at 10. And if you're in the Facebook group already, I'll see you today at 2 o'clock with my pantry and my refrigerator and targeted supplementation conversation. So I'll see you later. My touch screen on Facebook every time. Got to find my cursor. See